physicist to lawyer to AI pioneer. Now, that's not exactly a career path you see every day, right? But that's the journey of Thomas Wolfe, one of the co-founders of Hugging Face. Today, we're going to unpack his story because it's packed with essential lessons for anyone building in tech, especially if you're in the world of open source.
And this quote right here, it's not just a catchy line. It's pretty much the operating system for his entire career, the philosophy that drove him down this incredibly non-traditional path, right to the front door of one of AI's most important companies. It's all about continuous exploration.
So let's actually trace that journey. Because when you look at the stops along the way, you start to see how these seemingly random experiences came together to create this really unique and powerful perspective on how to build products and, just as importantly, communities.
Okay, so check this out. Each step taught him something totally different but crucial. As a physicist, he learned how to go super deep on one complex topic. Then, as a lawyer, he learned the exact opposite lesson, that time is this finite, precious resource you literally build by the minute. Entrepreneurship was kind of an accident. It just grew out of a game company. But that's where the magic happened. A little side project, an open source library they built, suddenly went viral. And they made the incredibly gutsy call to pivot the entire company around it. And that became Hugging Face.
Now that pivot wasn't just a smart business move. It was way bigger than that. It was a full-on embrace of a completely different philosophy for how you build technology. A philosophy that puts the power of openness right at the center of everything. The core difference here is all about mindset. Closed source is about control, secrecy. It's like saying, here's my tool, and you can only use it exactly how I intended. But the open source ethos that Wolfe champions, it's all about creating a win-win. You're distributing power, you're sparking innovation that you couldn't have even predicted, and you're letting the community discover uses for your creation that you never ever dreamed of. And he does not mince words on this. Think about that statement. It's incredibly powerful. For him, open source isn't just a development model or a business strategy. He sees it as a fundamental good, a gift that should probably extend far beyond just the world of computer science.
So why is this open model so potent in AI specifically? Well, it comes down to three key things. First, it hits the fast-forward button on progress. Researchers don't have to start from zero. They can grab a model and immediately start building on it. Second, it just unlocks this incredible wave of creativity. Someone can take a powerful model and build something completely new with it, a use case the original creators never saw coming. And third, it empowers entrepreneurs, giving them these insanely powerful foundations to build brand new companies on top of.
But okay, having a great philosophy is one thing. Actually building a product that people can depend on, that's a whole different ballgame. And this is where the theory smacks right into a much messier reality.
Every single founder knows this feeling deep in their bones. That initial wow demo, that's just the starting line. The journey to actually make it reliable and useful for real people in the real world is, as Wolfe calls it, a painful process. But here's the key. That pain is exactly where the real value gets created.
The journey pretty much always looks like this. You start with that perfect demo, everything works great. Then, bam, you hit the wall of edge cases, all the weird, unexpected, real-world stuff that breaks it. So what do? You start building scaffolding around it, pre-processing, wrappers, all sorts of fixes. And that whole painful, frustrating process of building the scaffolding, that is the product. That's your competitive moat. It's the hard problem you solve that becomes your company's actual defensible value.
So if building the tool is that difficult, how in the world do you convince people, especially picky developers, to actually use it? Well, this brings us to one of the most crucial parts of Hugging Face's success, a deep obsession with the developer experience.
I absolutely love this concept. Wolfe thinks about a developer's very first time using a library like the experience of unboxing a new iPhone. It has to feel good. It has to be pleasant, obvious, and totally frictionless. Remember, your users are developers, a tough crowd that can and will switch to another tool in a heartbeat if yours is a pain to use. That first impression is absolutely everything. And here it is. This is the golden rule. It's so blunt and so true. A tool has to be so intuitive that reading the manual feels like a last resort, not the first step. You're always designing for that person who just wants to get something working right now. So it really all boils down to two things. First, you have to obsess over that onboarding experience. How fast can you get someone from installing your library to having that, wow, this is cool moment? Make that journey as short as possible. And second, you have to nail the abstraction level. And this is a true art form. Finding that perfect, delicate balance between being easy to use, but also giving the user enough flexibility and control. It's not about a formula. It's about taste and having a strong, opinionated design. All right, so let's wrap this up by looking ahead. If open source is becoming this unstoppable force, where is all of this going? What does the future of AI innovation actually look like?
Well, Wolf's big prediction is that the capability gap between those giant closed models and the best open models is closing, and it's closing fast. He points to models out there right now that are already competing with the absolute state-of-the-art. He believes we're not that far away from a world where the performance of open and closed models is basically a wash. They're going to be neck and neck.
So what does that mean for builders like you? It means if the base models all become commodities, equally powerful and accessible, then the real value has to shift. The next wave of billion-dollar companies, they probably won't come from just training an even bigger model. They'll come from what you build on top of them, the applications, the workflows, the interfaces that solve real problems for real people. Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. In a world where that foundational AI power is available to pretty much everyone, the most important question isn't who has the biggest model anymore. It's who can build the most valuable, most useful experiences on top of it. And that, right there, is where the next great opportunities are just waiting to be found.